Perhaps you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and you have just come to the shocking realization that you have a sociopath in your life. Maybe even multiple sociopaths. So you wonder, why did you encounter sociopaths at this point of your life? I'm Donna Andersen, author of lovefraud.com and host of the True Lovefraud Stories podcast, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2025, and I'm going to explain 3 reasons why you may encounter a sociopath later in life. But before we get started, I want to make an announcement. Love Fraud Live is returning. On May 13th, 2025, we are switching to a live format. Tune into this channel every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll discuss a topic related to sociopaths, narcissists, and psychopaths, and how to recover from them. Then I'll answer your questions, so please join us. Okay, let's get on with the show. Why might you encounter a sociopath in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or even later? I have 3 answers to that question. One is about awareness, another is about life stages, and the last is about healing purpose. So here's the first reason: awareness of sociopaths. I'm willing to bet that sociopaths were always in your life. You just didn't know it. By sociopaths, I mean people who could be diagnosed with antisocial, narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, or psychopathic personality disorder. The original definition of sociopath was anything deviated or pathological in social relations. I launched lovefraud.com in 2005. At that time, nobody was talking about narcissists, and whenever sociopaths or psychopaths were mentioned, they were almost always equated with serial killers. There was no general awareness that people with exploitative and manipulative personality disorders lived all around us. Nobody told us that these people make up 12% of the population and they look just like the rest of us. So, how did we explain bad behavior in others? Well, when I was a kid, I had a cousin who was always in trouble. No matter what anyone tried, his behavior did not change. Finally, my relatives explained it as a chemical imbalance. I haven't seen my cousin in many decades, but now I wonder if he had some level of personality disorder. So, if you were clueless about sociopaths, well, you weren't alone. Everybody was in the dark until the internet came along. Now, you can Google whatever bad behavior you're seeing, and sooner or later, you'll find articles or videos related to personality disorders. That's probably how you found Love Fraud. So, there's starting to be more general awareness about sociopaths, although still not nearly enough. Here's reason number 2, life stages. I've heard from many people who were married to someone for 10, 20, or 30 years and just figured out that their spouse was a sociopath. How does this happen? Partly it depends on the level of disorder. The sociopathic personality disorders are on a spectrum, meaning that some people are affected more than others. If your spouse was a violent criminal, you knew he or she was bad, and I hope you left. Still, you may not have identified a personality disorder because you didn't know that they existed. Plenty of sociopaths, however, muddle their way through life without violence or blatant criminal activity. Your partner may have lied, cheated, spent money recklessly, neglected the children, or given you the silent treatment, all without breaking any laws. You, in the meantime, were running the hamster wheel, building your career and raising the kids. Or you assumed that your partner was dealing with stress or upheaval in the workplace. You kept thinking that life would get better when the kids were out of the house and you both retired from your jobs. But when that life stage arrived, your partner was just as bad. In fact, he or she may have gotten worse. That was the key finding of my book called Senior Sociopaths. It was based on data from 2,400 survey respondents. They all described an individual who was age 50 or older and whom they believed was a sociopath. About half of the respondents knew the individual both before and after the age of 50. Of them, 91% said the individual's deceit, manipulation, and antisocial behavior was just as bad or worse as they aged. Now that you finally have time to reflect on your situation, you realize that your partner was disordered all along. Finally, here's reason number 3, healing purpose. I believe there is often a larger purpose to the sociopath in your life, and this is especially true when it happens in your mature years. Maybe you had an unhappy marriage with a sociopath or just a jerk and finally got a divorce. Maybe you went for therapy to help in your recovery. After a period of time, you felt like you resolved your issues and were ready for the possibility of a new relationship. And who do you encounter? A sociopath. Why does this happen? In my experience, it means that you have more recovery work to do. This is not a failure. Whatever work you've done on yourself so far has gotten you to this point. When another sociopath comes along, it's an indication that you need to go deeper. Emotional pain creates disturbances in our energy fields. They stay there until we release them, creating vulnerabilities. Sociopaths prey on these vulnerabilities and just seem to have radar for the disturbances. So, why were you vulnerable? Most likely, you're still carrying emotional pain from previous marriages or relationships, or perhaps from other traumatic experiences. In many of the people I've spoken with, the pain goes all the way back to their childhoods. Sociopaths that you encounter later in life cause new emotional pain, which is just like the old buried emotional pain. The purpose of encountering sociopaths later in life is to bring the deep wounds to the surface and resolve them. That's what I mean by healing purpose. So here's what I suggest. Reframe the experience of the new sociopath as an opportunity to do much needed internal healing. The disturbance and pain absolutely can be relieved. It may be a bumpy ride for a while, but a terrific new life is on the other side of the process. If you need assistance with your escape and recovery, visit Love Fraud. We have thousands of articles. We have webinars by therapists and other experts to help you escape and recover. And I'm always happy to work with you one-on-one. I can give you practical advice and also ease the stress and tension with deep emotional release and Reiki. Check out the links in the window below this video. Also check out the True Lovefraud Stories podcast, where survivors tell their stories of deception and betrayal masquerading as love. And remember, Love Fraud Live begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, May 13th. Hope to see you there.